Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our aim, as always, is to give you that shortcut to being really informed. And today we're focusing south, way south, on Australia's, well, undisputed academic heavyweight, the Australian National University, ANU. Now, we're not just flicking through a brochure here. We've dug into a whole stack of sources, admission guides, student advice, some pretty deep expert analysis, even insights from folks like Nobel laureate Professor Brian P. Schmidt. The mission: to really boil down what makes ANU tick, why it's a global player, and crucially, why you should know about it.
Exactly. It's about getting past just the name recognition. I mean, the sources consistently put ANU right up there, top 50 globally. QS for 2025 actually has it in the top 35. It is the top-ranked university in Australia.
Okay, so that top ranking, that's our starting point. But here's what jumped out at me, the secret sauce, if you like, Canberra. The location. That seems to be what elevates it from just academic excellence to something more. A policy powerhouse. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, powerhouse is a good word. It's a real strategic advantage.
Yeah.
ANU isn't just a university. It positions itself as the national hub for serious academic research, for high-level policy development, and for, making a real-world impact. They're not just studying policy there. Often they're helping write it.
That sounds incredibly ambitious. What kind of resources are we talking about to back that up, to maintain that focus on policymaking?
Oh, it's staggering. Seriously. This is where Nobel Prize winners are based, where research constantly flows into global institutions. You're looking at, over 26,000 students? More than 11,000 of those are international from all over, 100 countries. And the money. AUD 1.5 billion specifically earmarked for R&D.
Wow.
Yeah. And that supports a pretty good student-to-staff ratio, too, around 15 to 1.
That 1.5 billion figure, it's huge. But, okay, it makes me wonder, if that much focus and funding goes towards these massive global research projects, the policy influence, is there maybe a risk that the actual undergrad teaching, the day-to-day student experience, gets a bit overshadowed?
That's a fair question, a really critical one. The sources seem to suggest that the 15 to 1 ratio is kind of the answer to that. While the big focus is global research, that close ratio means students are, in theory, learning directly from these world-leading researchers, these policy people. The teaching is the research, if that makes sense.
Okay. I see. Fascinating. Now, let's circle back to Canberra itself. You said strategic advantage. Being in the capital, it's not just about the postcode, is it? It sounds like it's a major career asset. What does that government proximity actually mean for a student?
Well, it creates this really unique professional environment. Canberra itself, the sources describe it as safe, really student-friendly. But the real kicker isn't just safety, it's opportunity. You are, literally just down the road from Parliament House, major embassies, key government departments, international organizations.
So I have to cross the street, practically.
Pretty much. And that access, it translates directly into things like research placements you wouldn't get elsewhere, unique internships, actual job opportunities popping up early, things that students say in Sydney or Melbourne might really have to hustle for or move for later. That policy access gives ANU grads a serious head start, especially in public service or global consulting.
Okay, so if the research and the location are geared towards global policy, national strategy, what specific degrees are they offering that actually funnel students into those kinds of fields?
Yeah, the curriculum definitely mirrors that focus. Undergrad, sure, you've got your popular degrees, Bachelor of Science, Engineering, Commerce, they're all strong. But the real standout, the one that comes up again and again, is the Bachelor of International Relations. It's completely plugged into that Canberra context. Then, moving up to postgraduate level, the demand is really high in those sort of technical and strategic areas. Master of Data Science, the MBA. And no surprise here, the Master of Public Policy is a big one. Also seeing lots of interest in niche, high-impact areas like the Master of Environmental Management and Development. Right.
And if research is your path, ANU is, premier for PhDs and MPhils, that's the Master of Philosophy, often a research-heavy step towards a PhD, particularly in fields like physics, economics, and, you guessed it, public policy.
It really sounds like a pipeline, doesn't it? Built around tackling these big global challenges. Which brings us neatly to the practical side getting in. What does the admissions checklist look like for an institution with this kind of global reputation and focus?
Yeah, preparation is absolutely vital. And time is your biggest friend here. The standard stuff applies. You need your high school diploma for undergrad, a relevant bachelor's for postgrad. But for international students, English proficiency is key. They look closely at IELTS, TOEFL, or PT scores. They need to be high. And the deadlines, they're pretty tight. ANU generally has two main intakes. Semester 1 applications, they usually close around October the year before. Semester 2 closes in April. The sources really hammer this home. Aim to apply a full year ahead. Gives you time to nail the prerequisites, get your documents sorted, and, crucially, look into funding. Which leads us straight to the money question. We know world-class education doesn't come cheap. What's the kind of sticker price we're talking about, and what's the living cost reality that someone needs to brace for?
Yeah, it's substantial. No getting around it. Undergraduate tuition, you're looking at somewhere between AUD 40,000 and 46,000 a year. Postgraduate is often a bit higher, maybe up to AUD 48,000 annually. But the thing that often surprises people is just how expensive Canberra itself can be. Housing alone. Estimates are between AUD 10,000 and 15,000 a year. Then add food, transport, another AUD 8,000, 12,000 on top.
Wow, that's a serious commitment. Okay, so given that pretty hefty investment tuition plus the high cost of living in Canberra, what's the specific career payoff? What return are graduates actually seeing that makes those numbers stack up? Is the employment data strong enough?
It seems to be, yeah. That access we talked about, it apparently translates directly into some of the highest graduate employability rates in Australia. The sources suggest grads get picked up quickly, often right there in Canberra, by federal government departments, top consulting firms, NGOs, research centers.
So the argument is the investment pays off faster.
That's the argument, that the higher upfront cost potentially leads to a faster, higher return in terms of salary and opportunity compared to grads from perhaps less policy-connected universities.
Okay, that context definitely helps frame it. But students still need ways to bridge that initial cost gap. What are the main scholarship options people should be looking at?
Absolutely. Scholarships are vital for many. ANU itself has significant funding pots, things like the Chancellor's International Scholarship, specific scholarships tied to research schools. Then there are the big government-backed ones, the Australia Awards, the Endeavour Leadership Program. They're competitive, obviously, but definitely worth exploring as part of your financial planning.
Right. Let's switch focus now to the actual experience. What's life like on the ANU campus today? Is it kind of an old school ivory tower vibe or more of a modern high-tech place?
Oh, definitely the latter. The campus has had huge redevelopments. We're talking state-of-the-art labs, new libraries, really extensive sports facilities. It feels like it's built to mix that academic intensity with, actual well-being. And the support systems seem pretty robust, specific services for international students, mental health support, career planning help.
And socially.
Socially, yeah, there seems to be a lot going on. Over 150 student clubs and societies mentioned, so plenty of ways to find your people.
An environment really geared for growth then. So looking
Yeah.
forward, how's ANU setting itself up for 2025 and beyond? Where's the focus going?
Their priorities for 2025 seem very much focused on that global stage and also digital transformation. They're really doubling down on sustainability programs, pushing for more global collaboration on the big issues, AI, climate change, economics, also implementing more flexible learning like wider use of hybrid classes, and boosting the digital platforms for student support.
Can you flesh that out a bit, that innovation focus? Give us a concrete example of how this research actually makes a difference in the real world.
Sure, there's a great case study involving the Climate Change Institute at ANU. They didn't just, publish academic papers. They actually partnered up with international organizations to build these really advanced AI-driven climate modeling systems. But here's the key bit. These models weren't just theoretical. They were actively fed into Australia's own government environmental policies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, helping shape the national strategy on things like climate adaptation and mitigation. That's how direct the link can be researched straight into the political agenda.
That's a massive level of real-world impact. It really proves that Canberra Connection isn't just talk. But, okay, we need the balanced picture. Even the best places have downsides, friction points.
Yeah.
What are the six main challenges that sources flag for students and researchers there?
Absolutely. Got to be realistic. First off, those application rates mean it's incredibly competitive to get in globally. Second, as we mentioned, the cost of living in Canberra, it's a persistent issue. Finding affordable housing is tough, even if you get a scholarship.
And what about adjusting to the sort of modern way of learning?
Well, that brings us to challenge number 3. A lot of students report digital learning fatigue. That constant screen time exhaustion, finding it hard to stay focused with all the hybrid learning models. Fourth, for international students particularly, there's the strain of the work-study balance needing to earn money while keeping up with demanding coursework. Fifth, sources acknowledge there can be funding gaps for some very specific niche research areas. And finally, number 6, cultural adjustment. It can be genuinely difficult for students coming from very different backgrounds. Asia, Africa, Europe, settling into the, well, relatively homogenous environment of Canberra.
Those are pretty significant hurdles, especially the cost and that digital fatigue. It sounds like success there isn't just about being smart, it requires real strategy.
Hmm.
So what are the key actionable tips from the sources to help navigate these issues?
Yeah, we distilled the advice down. Okay, first, logistics. Apply early, like a full year in advance. Second, tackle the housing beast. Secure on-campus accommodation as soon as possible to try and sidestep the Canberra rental market stress. Third, academically. Hit the ground running. Use the digital libraries, the research resources before classes even start. Get ahead of the game. Fourth, socially and culturally. Don't wait. Join clubs. Get involved right away to build that support network. That helps counter the isolation and the adjustment challenges.
And managing that modern workload, the hybrid model fatigue.
Right. Use the recordings, the hybrid classes, generate recordings, use them strategically, review complex stuff at your own pace. It helps combat that screen fatigue. And maybe the biggest career tip, connect early. Talk to potential research supervisors. Engage with ANU career services from day one. Don't leave it until your final year, especially if you're aiming for those policy or government roles.
Very practical steps. Okay, let's try and pull all these threads together now. What does an ANU degree ultimately represent? How do different people out there, academics, employers, actually view this place?
It's definitely seen through different lenses. Academics, well, they value ANU mainly for its global research partnerships and its impact factor. Employers, on the other hand, they tend to see it as a reliable pipeline for sharp, capable problem solvers. Then you have policymakers, probably the most connected group. They view ANU almost as an essential national think tank, something constantly feeding ideas and evidence into major national and even global issues. And students themselves. Understandably, they're often focused on the immediate experience, good campus life, and ultimately strong job prospects.
It really does sound like that unique pipeline into government and policy circles is the defining characteristic, the thing that sets it apart.
It absolutely is the great differentiator. Those high employability stats, they're directly tied to being in Canberra. Graduates move quickly into key jobs, government, defense, top-tier consulting, advanced research, and that pathway is smoothed by being right there, next to the decision makers. It manages to be both a top research university and a very effective professional launch pad simultaneously.
So wrapping up, ANU's unique value proposition seems to be this powerful mix. Top global ranking, yes, but combined with that direct, almost unparalleled access to the policy world, all fueled by a massive research engine focused on tackling future global problems.
Exactly. And if you look at their stated 2025 focus sustainability, AI, deeper global policy work, ANU is clearly signaling its intent to push its influence beyond just academic circles and into tangible, real-world outcomes. Which really leads to one final, maybe provocative thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If ANU truly is, as Professor Schmidt puts it, a global institution committed to solving the toughest challenges of our time, the question becomes, are you ready to take your education beyond pure theory and use it to actively shape national and international policy?
A challenging question that really underlines the kind of commitment involved. Hopefully this deep dive gives you the distilled knowledge to guide your thinking, whether you're considering applying or just understanding ANU's role. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.